There are hundreds of cool games about zombies, The Infected and The Walking Dead. Dozens of great games feature endless zombie hordes and only a handful of awesome games revolving around bikers. But there is only one game that holds a secret, seamlessly blending all these elements into a luxurious time killer. Days Gone might just be the most underrated former Sony exclusive, and it's this very secret that elevates the game. I have uncovered this secret today and I'm going to share it with you. Along the way, I've also pondered whether a remaster makes sense for us players, or if it's merely a cash grab for Sony. First and foremost, Days Gone is an action-adventure game with strong survival and horror elements. Developed by Bend Studio, a relatively obscure team known for Uncharted Golden Abyss on PS Vita, Siphon Filter and Resistance sequel on PSP, they have managed to achieve remarkable success. By success, I mean sales. Despite Sony not greenlighting a sequel due to critical reception and technical issues, which, let's be honest, plague many games these days, Days Gone recouped its costs. It generated over a 265 million in revenue against a release budget of around 40 million. A truly impressive feat. The secret starts with the fact that many real bikers worked at a studio, striving to authentically portray biker culture. And they nailed it! Customization, design and upgrading your motorcycle are all top-notch. Even the sound of the upgraded engine becomes genuinely pleasant to listen to, and you'll be hearing it for at least 35 hours of the main story. This includes the ability and frequent necessity to refuel and repair your bike. If you mismanage your fuel, haven't upgraded your tank sufficiently, or ride recklessly, hitting local freakers or crashing, you'll need to employ some tricks. For instance, coasting downhill without accelerating to save fuel. The open world map is designed with enough slopes to make this hidden mechanic regularly usable. It's not just a player exploit, it's a well thought out feature by the developers. Even fast travel consumes fuel, with the required amount displayed next to the destination point. Another example is repairs. Fixing your bike requires parts you scavenge from the post-apocalyptic world. But these parts are also needed to repair melee weapons if you unlock the relevant skill. How to economize here? For example, during jumps from improvised ramps, you can steer the handlebars to soften your landing, causing less damage to the bike. This semi-hidden mechanic is briefly mentioned in the game and can be easily overlooked. But when playing on hardest difficulty, resource management becomes crucial, similar to inventory management in Stalker 2 or ammo conservation in The Last of Us. Sometimes you have to choose whether to run over a freaker, sacrificing speed and durability, which you'll pay for with fuel and parts, to obtain a freaker ear, the local currency, or to avoid them entirely, minimizing risk, especially to your life. Slower protagonists can be caught by fast freakers. For instance, infected wolves can be particularly annoying. The weight and power of your bike also play significant roles. It's not just another skin like in some Need for Speed titles, it's your literal iron horse. The environment changes during rain, affecting traction and splash volume from the wheels. The game features dynamic day-night cycles, so you need to use your headlight. In the prologue, your bike is stolen and you fight to reclaim it as if it's a loved one, reinforcing the bond bikers have with their machines. You might even catch someone stealing parts from your bike if you stray too far. And that's not all. Listing everything in detail would be exhausting. Days Gone also boasts numerous dialogues and texts about biker life, laws and culture. The interactions between club members, their appearances, all showcase attention to detail and high level of craftsmanship. Among truly captivating biker games, I can only recall Full Throttle. Days Gone is, at the very least, the most expansive and visually stunning game about this community. It's hard not to consider it the best. Yet, we haven't even touched upon 50% of its overall success. So, where is the elusive secret of near genius? To fully grasp it, we must also examine the game's shortcomings. Conventionally, these flaws align with what many, including myself, would like to see addressed in a remaster, but haven't been. Let's tackle two birds with one stone. If you go to sleep at 6 PM, you wake up at 8 PM. So, if you intended to rest until morning, you need to sleep again immediately. Remember when games allowed you to choose the exact sleep duration via a diegetic interface? Open worlds like Far Cry 2 still mark the fact that such a simple feature wasn't added in Days Gone Remastered, which could have been implemented in a few hours of work. You still can change the difficulty level above medium, and okay, it's understandable that you can't switch from hard to medium, but you can't even go from medium to hard. That's just absurd in my opinion. The protagonist still can't swim. While adding swimming mechanics might be more appropriate for a remake, which this game clearly doesn't need, it's still unpleasant to return to a game that asks for an additional $10, retaining all its major flaws. This is despite the project still being riddled with utterly dumb bugs, which remasters are typically created to fix properly. Moreover, Days Gone still has oddities with its sound. There is no clear explanation of which setting to choose, and the audio profiles are objectively weak. Adjusting brightness is also problematic. At the midpoint of the slider, darkness renders everything invisible, but moving it just on the notch makes the flashlight excessively bright, potentially blinding you, especially during nighttime play. This too could have been fixed with the remaster with a couple of clicks, but wasn't. And here we arrive at the element that helps us understand the formula for success. The same flashlight of the protagonist remains unrefined, just like in the original. It shines backward when it mounted on Deacon's chest and aimed forward. Firstly, this definitely answers the question, is this remaster necessary? Clearly, in its current form, no. It's a shoddy attempt to squeeze more money. Secondly, the flashlight breaks immersion. It's a neglect of an important detail. Yet, I want to emphasize that attention to other details in this game acts as a glue, binding the biker concept with zombie hordes. Suppressors used by Deacon are consumables. They're not just for fun. Gunfire genuinely attracts many unwanted freaker hordes. The protagonist shouts while riding his motorcycle during conversations, raising his voice to be heard over the engine. Attention to detail? Absolutely. Attracting even more freakers? Yep. The ring Deacon gave to his fiancée, Sarah, constantly spins as a diegetic interface in the bottom right corner during loading screens, reminding players of the main goal. Lastly, let's discuss the attention to graphics and the open world. The game isn't just visually appealing, it utilizes features that many developers overlook, such as footprints in the snow, clothing getting wet in the rain, reflections in water, and volumetric lighting. In a gameplay part, roads may have ropes stretched across them, knocking you off the bike due to enemy ambushes. You can rescue someone from bandits and send them to a camp, earning more experience and trust. You might unexpectedly step into scattered traps. And now we approach the ultimate understanding of the game's success. These very traps, ropes, and everything I've mentioned, along with biker culture, everything harmoniously combines with the game's truly unique feature, the largest hordes of the undead in gaming history. No Left 4 Dead, Dead Rising, DayZ, or even World War Z or anything else which supposedly rely on similar feature reach the level of Days Gone. Your screen can display up to 500 individually rendered dead walkers or other sprinting monsters. With PS5 and PS5 Pro, this number increases to approximately 800. The way you interact with them is quite unique and, most importantly, effective. You can crush them with logs, strategically plan your path near various explosive and incendiary materials in different sized containers, set traps intended for you against the freakers, and sometimes even destroy the floor beneath a horde. There are large Bandera smoothie with napalm, the ability to flee from the infected on your bike while shooting them with auto-aim. Numerous genuinely cool perks help you fully utilize this game's features, not just health or stamina. For instance, you can restore stamina by killing an enemy with melee weapons. This provides a second chance when a horde is hunting you. Boss fights with infected super bears, banshee screamers and fast freakers also make full use of the mechanics. Additionally, freakers become more aggressive at night, so it's better to deal with them during the day. As for armed bandits, it's advisable to eliminate them stealthily, at least partially. But there is an even better method which also ties into attention to detail. You can lure an entire zombie horde into a human camp, and they'll simply clear it out. Isn't that wonderful? So, the secret to your game earning over 220 million as a Sony exclusive without being a revolution or masterpiece and having a poor remaster that extracts even more money is the thoughtfulness of its world, meticulousness and effort wherever the developers lacked skill. You can see that a lot of thought went into all the details and concepts in the game, striving to make the best of their creation. And they succeed in laying the foundation for everything they aimed for. Not everything turned out perfectly only because this was the first project of such scale from a then unknown studio. It's comparable to The Witcher 1 in its time, and we all know what happened with the release of The Witcher 2 and 3. I will never understand why Sony didn't give another chance for a sequel to a financially successful game. However, I can easily understand those who hesitate to subscribe to channels with little content, but mine has accumulated some videos, so please check other videos and hit the subscription button. Thank you for your attention.